When we were chatting a few months ago, I said that hard times were coming, and today's numbers show that hard times are here. Hundreds of thousands of people have already lost their job, and many more will. What I would say, though, is difficult decisions do lie ahead for all of us, but I want to reassure people that we will get through this, and nobody will be left without hope and opportunity.
Why do you think it is that the UK has been so badly hit? I mean, you know, the deepest recession of pretty much any G7 economy.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair question to ask, and as I look at it, I think the primary explanation is the composition of our economy. Social activities, for example, going out for a meal, going to the cinema, shopping, those kinds of things comprise a much larger share of our economy than they do for most of our European comparative countries. So in a situation where you've literally shut down all those industries for almost 3 months, a long period of time, it is unfortunately going to have an outsized impact on our economy.
And it's had a big impact on the economy, and as you say, will likely have an impact in the coming months. I mean, what can we expect in terms of the economy, in terms of people's jobs?
Well, the employment picture, as I've said, is difficult. Hundreds of thousands of people have already lost their jobs. Many more will. That is incredibly sad, and why it's so important that we focus on trying to help those people, which is why we outlined our plan for jobs in July to support, protect and create jobs across the United Kingdom. And whether it's through the job retention bonus, whether it's through initiatives like Eat Out to Help Out or the Kickstart scheme for young people or new apprenticeship incentives, I want to provide people with new opportunities.
One of the things that I think is in everyone's mind at the moment is the possibility of there being a second surge in cases across the UK. If that does happen, are you prepared potentially to shut down parts of the economy again, whether that's pubs or restaurants and the bits that have just reopened right now? The Prime Minister said that might have to happen if schools are going to reopen.
I think, look, the Prime Minister's been very clear, and I think, look, we're dealing with an unprecedented pandemic. It would be wrong for me or anyone to sit here and say we have a perfect crystal ball on how the future is going to be. But obviously we've evolved to a new strategy now, which shows enormous promise, which is the ability to target our interventions in a much more nuanced way, and that's the success of our track and trace operation, the testing capacity, and so now we can intervene at a local level at an earlier stage and be much more targeted in our approach, and so far that is working, and that's very much how we plan to deal with this going forward.
But if that doesn't work, that is still early days. If that doesn't work, you're prepared, are you, to do bigger lockdowns across larger parts of the economy, are you?
I think we've shown, you can see from our actions, whether it's on things like travel or indeed intervening in local areas in varying degrees, that we will take the action that's required to suppress the spread of the virus and do that in a way that allows as much of the economy to function as possible. That remains our guiding principle. But as I said, I can't pretend that I have a crystal ball, given we're dealing with an unprecedented situation.
And one of the things that's been reported recently is the possibility you may consider changing the scope of the spending review, potentially the date of the budget, if there is a second surge. I mean, are those things that are possible?
We've said that we plan to have a fiscal event in the autumn, and we're very much working towards that goal. Indeed, on the spending review, which sets all the budgets for people's departments for the next few years, I launched that process just a few weeks ago by writing to departments, so we're on track for that.
But it could be a 1 year, it could be a 3 year thing. There's quite different scopes in terms of how ambitious you're going to be and how much of a vision you can have for the UK economy in the next few months.
Well, I think we're living at a time of unprecedented uncertainty economically and grappling with something that we haven't done before. So again, I think we should have some humility about the situation we're in. But our plan very much, as I said, is to have a fiscal event in the autumn, and that's what we're working towards.
You've probably seen the pictures over the course of the last few weeks of dinghies in the Channel, of people trying to get to this country, and you'll know about the government's reaction to that. What's your impression when you see those pictures?
Well, I share with most people an enormous sense of anger and frustration that this is still happening. This is something that people rightly believe should be stopping. France is a safe country. People should not be travelling from France to come to the UK for asylum purposes. The immigration minister has been in France engaging with our allies over there. Obviously, this is something that we have to tackle jointly, and he's working very hard to put in place whatever measures are required to do exactly that.
Finally, when you look at the numbers that we've just seen, 24 20.4% in terms of the fall in GDP. Was that just a price worth paying for keeping the disease under control?
I think we took the decisions that we did at the time we did in order to protect people's lives and suppress the spread of the virus. And those were the right decisions. But it is also now right, given the progress we've made, to have safely reopened our economy. It's not a sustainable situation to have vast swathes of our economy essentially shut down, and that's why we have been able to successfully reopen bits and do it in a safe way. And as people get back to going shopping or going out for a meal, or indeed getting back to their office, they will see that it's a new normal, it's a safe normal. We have made changes, guidance is there to ensure that safety, and crucially mean that we can get our lives back to normal, get the economy going again, but do so in a way that maintains our suppression of the virus.
And they shouldn't be too nervous about the virus, should they?
No, I think as people will see as they go out, whether it's to a shop, whether it's to a restaurant, or whether it indeed is back to their office, I think they will see changes, and those changes are quite tangible, and people should take confidence from those changes to know that this is now a new, safer environment for me to go and do all those things. And that's good news. I think we need to get the economy going. We've talked about jobs earlier in this interview, and we want to try and protect as many jobs as possible. That comes from as much of our economy returning to normal as possible, and that's why we're so focused on these things.